This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everybody. How many of us talk to somebody, have a therapist to help move our lives forward, help us understand certain things? She offers psychotherapy services, but I'm going to stop right there. But it's very, I shouldn't say the word but. I don't like using that word because it seems like a negative. And it's very different in that she centers on art. Yes, artwork to help people heal and realize things and really truly move their lives forward. Art therapy is what we're talking about today. Barbara Robertson joins us once again. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
Very well. Thanks for being our professional of the year. Thanks for being back here.
You're very welcome. I'm honored, and it's just so much fun for me to talk about this practice that I love doing and love seeing what it can do for people who really try it, really use it.
I knew that it's impactful. And as I had the epiphany when I was a child, I used to draw cartoons and just thought it was kind of fun. But now, when I look back after we spoke, that was my therapy going through some challenging situations as a child. Now I see it, and I even see visuals of myself as a kid, in my happy place, drawing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's part of why I love it so much because I've used drawing as, a favorite pastime as long as I can remember. And it pulls you into a different place. You get so absorbed in what the line and the shape and the color is doing on the page that it's like a kind of meditation almost, I think, in what it invites your brain to do, which is just to stay focused on this present moment. The next mark you make, what you're seeing on the page right now. How is it changing now that you put a new color in there? What is happening now? So you don't get caught up in all the past and future stories that we tend to typically tell ourselves at any given time about what might happen or what has happened and how can we avoid it happening again, or how can we make that thing happen again, or wherever, our brain is really a mechanism for producing thoughts. And so when we engage in artwork, it actually gives the brain a little bit of a rest from thought production because it just gets to go, oh, what's happening now? And I think that kind of relieves the whole system of a level of stress.
You get another epiphany in my mind here today. It was almost 5 years ago. I met somebody, and I believe they showed up when they needed to show up. And they said to me, "Why don't you ever live in the moment?" And I didn't know what they were talking about. I said, "You always
Yeah.
live in the past and live in the future. You don't live in the moment." And I'm like, I don't, I got nothing for you. I don't know what you mean." They were right. I thought about it, processed it, took a little while, even a couple of months till I really started sinking in. But that was the game changer and is why many of us have challenges because we're always thinking about the past or what could be in the future. What if, what if? Well, the future is
Yes.
not guaranteed. You're kind of wasting your time worrying about it.
In a lot of ways. That's right. Yes.
But I never made the connection when it comes to art and somebody's creating something. It's that moment, that brushstroke, that line, that color. Unfortunately, myself included back in the day, when I was doing art, I would always think ahead. Well, how's it going to look? Or who's going to see it? And I wish I wish I met you, reel myself back in and just enjoy the artistic moments of that creation instead of thinking ahead.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean because I've been caught up in it myself for a great a great deal of time overall because once I began to develop some skill in drawing and representing recognizable things on the page, then my little inner critical voice started piping up. And I think probably most of us have one of those that goes, are you sure that's good enough? I don't know. You maybe shouldn't show that to anybody until you really fix it.
Yes.
You're one of those.
Oh,
Yes.
I read on I rode the perfectionism train for way too long,
Oh,
up
yeah.
until just a few years ago. But it
Yep.
would be that, I draw a cartoon and I was into comic strips. So I would draw and be halfway through. No, 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 it's not coming around. Take it, throw in the garbage. Do it again. Take it, throw in the garbage. But if I showed it to you, you'd say, it looks like just like the other one. What are you doing? Stop. It's fine. But
Yeah, and I
you
would probably say, oh, look how that little guy's body is really expressing what he's feeling. Look how you drew that gesture. Look at that expression on the face. I think you might be missing some of what you know how to do already.
didn't see it that way back then.
No, no, we don't tend to at the time. We really don't. And I think we do that with a lot of things
Yep.
and actually have great respect for the perfectionistic urge and for the critic, even when they tend to be harsh, because their roles are really protective.
Mhm.
They're little messages from our mind that are saying, you know, you got your feelings hurt pretty badly one time when you showed somebody something that wasn't perfect. And it might be good if you were careful not to do that again. But they don't usually speak in that gentle way to us.
Yeah.
They're just like blaring the red alert horn. Rah, rah, don't do that. Don't go there. So it doesn't feel great. It doesn't feel like encouragement. It feels like, ah, so I'm trying to avoid getting put down, but now I'm putting myself down on the inside. And that doesn't really feel much better.
It's the classic inner critic.
Yep.
Yeah. It's that evil voice inside of you, uh, just taking you down. Like, what do you think? That's not good. That's not good enough. People are going to look at that. Well, that doesn't look like a car you drew. No, blah, 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 blah. Um,
Yeah.
I want to, and you have some pieces that you've done to show us, illustrate some of the examples that we're talking about. Before we get there, you mentioned something called Gestalt last time we got together. What is that?
Uh-huh. That is an approach to therapy that is focused on the individual's full experience of any moment. I actually experienced Gestalt therapy treatment when I was in my late 20s, purely by random chance. But let me describe what might happen in a session like that. So, I came in one day with a dream I'd had that was so vivid and it really stayed with me. And I was in a train station trying to find the right set of tracks, trying to get to the train and get on board before it left the station. And I was stymied. Every turn I took was a dead end, and I wasn't getting to the train. And I think I woke up before it came to resolution. So I brought it in because I had a lot of feelings about it. A lot of feelings of frustration and anxiety were really just, coursing through me. And so my therapist said, can you be the train? What are you talking about?
I'm processing that myself.
Yeah. So no, he said, can you be the train? You're on a set of tracks. You have a schedule. You have a time when you're supposed to leave,
Hmm.
and there's a passenger who can't find you. What do you do? So I thought, okay, well, I don't know. There's a passenger that can't find me. I'm the train. I'm supposed to go. So I go. And he goes, oh, okay. So now be the passenger that you were. So I'm like, okay, so I'm hunting for this train and I'm hoping it doesn't leave, but I know it's going to leave because it's not my job. I can't communicate with the train. And he goes, yeah, it's not your job to control everything that happens. It's only your job to do your best to get where you want to be when you want to get there. You're not in charge of the trains, too. And when we've had, let's say we've come from a hard place in childhood, come from things that weren't necessarily traumatic, but weren't really very supportive either. We tend to want to control things around us, even as we grow into adulthood, because we imagine that's going to keep us safer from something unexpected coming along and blaming us for something. And I felt like in that dream situation,
Hmm.
if I was controlling the train and I made it wait for me, and then I got on the train, my success would still put me at fault because I made the train late. But then if I didn't make the train late and it left without me, I was also at fault because I didn't get to the train on time. And so I could see that I was setting myself up. Instead of for a win-win situation, I was set up for a lose-lose situation.
I was just going to say no win before you said it. It's a no
No
win.
win. There's no way to win that situation. I'm at fault. And so, in doing that, I came to discover that I had a hidden belief about how things are likely to work with me. Well, they're probably not going to work. Some part of me believed, well, they're probably not going to work. You're going to do something wrong, and somebody's going to be irritated with you for something. So, you know, just be prepared to take on the guilt and then soldier on. Thank heavens I encountered that therapist because it really just took a huge weight off my shoulders to kind of recognize that this was really not a constructive way to live.
I
And
love that. I love the way she flipped that. Be the train.
yes,
Like,
yes, yeah. I mean, it really was an awesome kind of experience for me because we weren't talking about it theoretically. I was feeling the sense of responsibility for myself to do things right, for myself to control how the train did things. And I could see how much was beyond my grasp, and not just beyond my grasp, but validly beyond my grasp. I'm not responsible for unfolding reality. Somebody put it, um, it, this was a gal that I went to for life coaching. Her name was Sean Massey, still is Sean Massey. But anyway, she has great little quips about things. And she would say, what God really is unfolding reality. And that
hmm.
sort of really gave me a different perspective, kind of like the Gestalt thing works. It's bigger than the sum of its parts. God is love, God is omnipotent, God is, there are all sorts of statements out there about what God is, depending on your religious belief, your culture, your, family of origin, and all the rest. But when she described it as the entity that is unfolding reality moment by moment, I was kind of like, man, that is not a job I want. I don't want to be responsible for unfolding reality all over the universe. That's huge. So let's rethink this control business. What am I really trying to do when I'm trying to control something that's happening? I'm picking a fight with reality and saying to reality, no, you're not doing this right. You know, for me to be happy, you need to do it my way. And of course, reality rarely decides to cooperate.
Barbara, that's an interesting view. And I guess it goes back to the classic thought you can only control what you can control. And so many of
Right.
us try to control, I don't mean like control freak, but situations arise and we get all out of whack, but you couldn't do
Yes.
anything about it.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And we feel safer if we have this illusion that we can make things happen that we want to have happen, that we can make people we're in relationship with respond to us in ways that feel respectful and supportive. And when they're not able to do that because they're not perceiving the same thing that we're perceiving, they're bringing their own life experience to it, then we can get really bent out of shape and decide, well, my husband should do it this way, or my wife should do it that way. And then we really are stymied again because that's not their job to do it our way. It's really not. And that's not why we're with them in the first place, because there was something about how they were being them that was magnetic for us in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we tend to really kind of in the interest of feeling like life is predictable and orderly, and I know it's going to happen next, and they should say this, so this is what they're going to say. It's not really, really letting you be fully alive.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not allowing yourself to be fully alive because you're focused on other things except you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Can you
Yeah.
show us? You have some pieces of work that you've done that can serve as maybe an example of some of the things that we're talking about. Can we take a look at those?
Sure. Yeah. Some of these I did in response to like a seminar on an approach to therapy, and some I just did kind of independently for myself to express something. And the first one I want to show you is a little three-dimensional construction made out of packaging cardboard. And you can see it's a little sort of imaginary critter. It's got some contradictory features to it also. It's got kind of a sharp triangular horn kind of shaped nose on the front.
Mm-hmm.
And its back is covered with something like a tortoise shell, but its tongue is hanging out like a dog might be panting for attention, and its legs cause it to kind of lean forward, like it's, you know, how a dog will come up and press on you on your leg with its nose, pet me, pet me. And so for this creature, it contains both defensive actions or defensive strategies and evidence that it really wants to connect.
I, I, all right. Can I interpret?
Please,
And you tell me this is if this is the intent.
please.
It looks like it's a very warm, loving, endearing creature.
It
It's
has
got
those puppy eyes, doesn't it?
yeah, and the tongue being out. That's a submissive. Like I just want to be with you. I want to connect with you. But it looks like there's a coat of armor as a
Exactly.
as a protection. The ears are very prominent, meaning it's good listener.
Yeah.
Um,
And they're forward as well. They're not, a dog or another kind of animal. When they feel unsafe, their ears go back, but this one's ears are perked right up. So,
mhm.
yes, listening, attentive.
There's a lot, Barbara, you just open our eyes to a lot here. There's a lot. Somebody may look at that and just say, "Oh, that's interesting." I don't know what that is, but it's an interesting piece. When you're intentional about analyzing or interpreting, there's a lot going on there.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Mm,
And you can, one way that I really like to look at artwork is to try to feel in my body what the image or what the figure is doing, and so that kind of forward leaning and that, the tongue out and the kind of suggestion of panting and those eyes, they're like, yeah, yeah, you see me? I'm over here. You see me?
hmm
It kind of puts me in an experiential way of understanding what it's about. And that it has this hard shell and these sort of angular aspects on the front of it also are sort of like, yeah, but I'm not, if it's not really safe to connect, I'm prepared to deal with it. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't want to, I don't want to go overboard here and just give you 100%. So,
Is there any significance with the tail?
I think the tail is just sort of intended to be another indication of wanting to connect. It's sort of up and waggy. Yeah.
Like a cat. My cat, all right.
Yes.
They're when their tail is up, they're like, "Hey, everything's good, everything's good." Like this
That's
this
right.
creature, um,
Yeah.
when there's something up, the tail puffs out, or goes forward, or goes underneath them.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is
Yes.
this is a
Yeah.
creature that's willing to connect, but there is hesitancy. There's caution.
Yeah. There's a little caution there. They just want to make sure that, that they're going to be okay when they connect, but they really want to connect. Yeah.
Interesting. Wow.
And that's a dilemma that I think probably 99.9% of us find ourselves in, at least from time to time in life.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So many times, even let's say even somebody goes to a party alone, or you go to a networking event or something, you
Yes.
want to talk with people, you want to connect, but there's things preventing you from really jumping into it. Maybe if you're how you'll be judged. Maybe there's deep-seated situations going on in your mind where you're not just being who you mask down.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. And those are situations that tend to really bring the mask up
For sure.
because we don't know how we're going to be encountered. Um, I have to boast on my daughter for just briefly because it's so relevant to this. In high school, she went to like a pre-career week at a college. And she told me when she got back that when she got to the dorm where all the high school kids were staying together, she kind of sat in her room and wanted somebody, left the door open and wanted somebody to come by and stick their head in the door and say, "Hi, my name is so and so. Who are you?" And so she sat and waited for a while and nothing was happening. And she went, "Wait, what if I did that?"
Be the train.
And she was the train. And she got up and went down the hall and stuck her head into a couple of rooms and introduced herself and really discovered something so meaningful that other people want attention too. And that attention is something we have that other people value. I mean, we use the expression pay attention because I think inherently on a subconscious level, we recognize that attention has value.
Wow. Never thought of it that way, but it's true.
And it was one of those things that I know I did not teach my daughter this. She just came to it, on the strength of her own little soul. And I just, I was really awed that she had been able to do that.
Yeah, imagine in that situation, dorm, whatever, walking through the hallway. Maybe it's the beginning of the school year and just seeing a door ajar and not going in if it's uncomfortable and you don't want to
Sure,
get in somebody's space. But if you can see them sitting there and just pass them by, hey, how's it going?
absolutely.
That's it. Start
That's
start the
it. That's
conversation.
it.
Yeah,
Right. Right. And even just, just to give the receiver a sense of having been seen.
exactly.
Someone sees me. Yeah.
But
It's
doing it
really,
in a genuine way, because the next thing that would come out of my mouth, if it fit, well, let's say you're in that dorm situation, you pass by, doors open, somebody's sitting, or maybe they're on their bed or whatever, and you pass by and you see something on the wall, or you see a bedspread certain pattern. Say it. It's okay if it's genuine. I really like the way that looks. Like, is that like an abstract? Whatever it might be, whatever it
no,
might be.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. It's just somewhere, to start connecting with a person.
Wow. We are out of time. I don't know if you had any other pieces to
Goodness.
show. I
Oh,
re
yeah. Let me just do a
save them
couple of
for
quick
next
ones.
time.
Oh, we'll
Save.
save them for next
Yeah,
time. Okay, cool.
we're out of time.
We're that out of time.
That
Okay.
was so much fun. Even looking at that one piece and dissecting it, if you will,
Yeah,
to figure out what's going on there, what you were thinking when you created it. But at the same time, for me, there was no denying what's going on. Like it just seems, it was a coat of armor on a creature that really wants to engage. We're all the same. That's
That's
us.
right. That's right. That's all of us at one time
Hmm.
or another, at least. Well, thank you so much for, for really connecting with what I'm talking about and kind of helping me bring out more about it. I really appreciate that.
Oh, I appreciate you and what you bring and a whole new perspective on art and what it can do to help move our lives forward and also heal us. Barbara, how does somebody find you if they want to, connect with you, art therapy, want to learn more about this? How do they do that?
Sure. Well, I have a website that is Robertson, Robertson, art therapy, all spelled out lowercase, LLC, no punctuation through the whole thing, .com. That's my website. And my email is brobertson.atr@gmail.com. And I will answer every inquiry that I get. It may take me a couple of days, but I will get back to you, I promise.
Wonderful. Thank you for being here and looking forward next time we get together. Don't don't put those pieces away that we didn't get to because we're
I'll
going to dig
save
into
those
that.
for next time. That sounds great.
Excellent. Looking forward. Thanks
Okay.
again.
You too. Bye now.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.